I think a good place to begin with the Ravens.
Right.
And this is a pattern. It's an unfortunate pattern for Ravens fans.
Sure.
But we have talked about this quite a bit with the Ravens offense being lesser than it was a season ago. Let's begin this way. Let's take a look at Lamar, the first 6 games of the season. Lamar Jackson's production against the last 4. They started out winning 5 of the first 6 games. After they lose yesterday to Tennessee in overtime, they've now lost 3 on the last 4 games. Passing yards, down. Rushing yards, about exactly the same. Touchdowns, down. Turnovers are up. We'll eventually get to the specifics of yesterday. What's going on these last 4 weeks that's taken this Ravens offense, best in the league last year? It's a pretty average here this last month.
Well, I know this is a big conversation. I get it. I really do. The first thing I think we have to be real about the situation. The last 4 games, we're against 4 pretty damn good teams.
But this was the number 1 seed last year.
I understand that, and again, we'll see where this goes. I'm not counting them out yet. You're right. They've certainly had some extra bumps in the road as compared to last year and all of those things. But, it's Steelers, Colts, Patriots, Titans. Those they present some challenges, let alone they're coached by really good defensive coordinators and things like that. But I think overall, and we'll get into some of the specifics here, okay? Here's my first comment. Lamar Jackson's not the problem. Everybody's got to get off of that. He is not. Now, the offense, people have caught up to it. Hey, Patrick Mahomes, his first year as a starter, he threw for 50 touchdowns. Second year, he only threw for 25 or 26. Man, people catch on. I don't care who you are. But what's happening here, which is different than Mahomes, is the Ravens are losing football games.
Right.
And the Chiefs didn't do that last year.
Right.
Only a handful.
Let's back up to something you said just a few seconds ago. Teams are catching up.
Yes.
Clearly they're catching up.
Right.
We've kind of danced around this subject, brought it up a little bit. What are teams doing differently against this offense now that they weren't doing last year?
Well, okay, first off is the Ravens themselves. They're not as good as they were last year, just purely running the football on you.
Offensive line.
Offensive line. Hey, listen, all-pro, best tackle in football, not there.
Right.
He's hurt. DJ Fluker was the right guard. They had to move him to right tackle because of Stanley getting hurt. Now Orlando Brown, who's their great right tackle, he's at left tackle. So now they got another tackle in there. Let's not forget Marshall Yanda retired after the year, too.
Right.
He was still really good last year. He didn't have to retire because he was no good anymore. He retired because he was like, damn, I've been playing for a long time, and how many times can I smash my head in every year?
Right.
So that's why he gave it up. So there's those issues there. The league, first off, this caught everybody by storm last year. And everybody goes back to study it. I've said this a lot over the podcast the last few weeks, and I think everybody's realized how they want to play Baltimore to at least stop the run game. And everybody has learned how to protect the edge off of the Baltimore run game to a degree too. And what I mean by that is, and I don't like this. This is something the Ravens, I think, need to change, but I understand why they're like this. The Ravens run too many condensed sets. That's what would be one of my issues. Spread the field out a little bit. How come we always got all 11 guys in a 12-yard area in the middle of the field? And you make it very easy for the defense to kind of, keep people in there, in their sights. Hey, one guy can cover 2 guys, do those type of things. I would like to see them change that aspect. But they did that originally because they went, hey, we think we can just smash you up the middle. You'll bring more people inside, and then Lamar will keep it around the edge, and you go, oh, crap, we got nobody out on the edge. People have figured out how they want to play it. Then, go ahead. What do you want to ask? So then we'll go to the next part.
Okay, so I'm just looking at some of the social questions.
Yeah, please, let's do it.
I think that this might be perfect for it. At Defense On asks, what can or should Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, do at this stage of the season to make the Ravens less easy to predict?
Right. Well, okay.
You might have just answered it with the formation.
I think that's one big part of it. I'd like to see them spread the field a little bit. I do think that it'll make defenses uncomfortable, a little like Arizona with Kyler Murray at times, because you're going, wait, we got to spread out. We got to at least give these guys out here at receiver and tight end who are split out the due respect to just not leave them wide open. But, of course, that's going to create some running lanes and some stress in the box. I think there's something to that. Like I said, with the condensed sets, too, it makes it very easy to play certain coverages sometimes where you just got people in the area where it's like, hey, there's 2 receivers, but one guy's guarding them because it's all so close. And then the other aspect of this, because they're not going to reinvent their offense. Hey, here's another thing. Pete, maybe you could look this up as we sit here and talk about this, because this is just what my eye tells me. Can they throw the ball outside the numbers?
I don't know.
Can they ever do it?
It certainly looks like
it.
And if they're keeping those formations in tight, maybe they don't feel like they can, whether it's personnel out wide or with Lamar.
I just have a hard time believing that because sometimes the looks are so easy and so good. And listen, again, you heard me defend Lamar when we started this segment where I said Lamar Jackson's not the problem. If you're open, hey, Lamar's not Mahomes or Rodgers, but if you're open, he's going to hit you. This is not
Are they not getting
They're
open?
They're not open that much. No.
So here's the next question from Jack Swam. Is Hollywood Brown a bust, or are the Ravens not getting the best out of him?
Well, I don't think they're getting the best out of them. I think they could utilize him more. Hollywood Brown, though, to answer this, and this is a good question, is he was overrated coming out of college. You know, this is, again, where, yeah, he was fast, and it was one highlight after another at Oklahoma, but, like, there's not one NFL DB in the Big 12. Who cares? Nobody in the Big 12 can play defense, let alone he was on the team that was by far the most talented, with CeeDee Lamb on there, with Kyler Murray, with Baker Mayfield. Yeah. I mean, Mark Andrews was there. Yeah. I mean, it's a damn good team he was on. So I think he was a little overrated, but I still don't think they're doing him justice by finding a niche that he is good at and using that within the offense. You know, I've talked about the speed sweeps, the reverses, all of those type of things. Wide receiver screens are not a thing that's a part of this offense. So, yes, he's been underwhelming, but I do think they could use him a little bit better as well. His biggest issue is his size. He just does not play big. If it's a jump ball, he's not going to win those matchups. And if he gets jammed or bumped at the line of scrimmage, it really affects him to where he has a hard time regaining his speed or fighting through that contact to be a viable option.
Right.
And that's, to me, their issues more than anything, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Again, we're sitting here on a week for the second week in a row. There's no wide receiver involvement. And not second week in a row. I mean, this is 4 weeks in a row. There's no wide receiver involvement. All you got to worry about is run game, Lamar up the middle. I mean, running backs up the middle, Lamar on the edge, Mark Andrews. That's all you got to think about. And really, all of that kind of plays out right down the middle for you. Right. It's Andrews down the middle. It's the run game down the middle. And then it's Lamar just off the edge. And that's where I think they need to make teams defend the whole field as we talk about good offenses a lot of the time, right?
Yeah. So how did that play out on what you saw yesterday in the overtime loss?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of what the Patriots did with the Titans, they load the box, right? They understand how they want to play them. And then within playing that, we'll gamble a little more on stopping the run, they feel good about stopping the pass, even though they're not being the perfect pass defense, because they go, it's predictable. We kind of got a feel for it. We're not worried about it. It doesn't burn people. We're going to roll the dice and go, we'd rather stop the run and make you prove to us that you're going to beat us with the pass game. And that's not been the case. And, hey, listen, we could talk about, first off, the touchdown pass he throws to Mark Andrews. Let's just talk about the good one there. That was phenomenal. Yeah. And that wasn't even a call out and up, which I thought it was on TV.
Right.
He led him to the open area, right? Yeah. When I saw it live yesterday, I went, oh, good play call by Greg Roman.
Right.
But it was the typical post by the outside guy, corner by the inside guy.
Yes.
And you're going, okay, throw the corner.
Yeah.
But he sat there and waited, and he realized Malcolm Butler had gone with the post route, and he threw a ball that made Mark Andrews turn it up into a double move.
Right. It's this term that gets thrown around so often now. He threw him open.
That's
he actually did it right there.
He really did.
And then they had another 30 or 31 yard gain. That same connection, Lamar Jackson to Mark Andrews
on the
earlier
third
in the
and 10.
game was a perfect throw again. So there are examples, but again, this is to the tight end. Where are the examples? Throwing it out wide.
Hey, listen, I love Des Bryant. He looked good, but he shouldn't be leading your team as the receiver.
And there's a reason he hasn't been on a roster for a while.
So, and he did look good, and I want to say that, but that goes back to my point again. I know this isn't Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees, but he's plenty good enough to carve you up if you get people open in the pass game. Now, did he make mistakes in the game? Okay, certainly. You look at the interception at 21-13, right? That was a big moment in the football game. Did he get a little greedy? I do think so. First off, he's got Hollywood Brown on a 16-yard in cut. He's wide open.
Yeah.
But he does have Duvernay open downfield for the shot. Now, he missed the throw. He threw a wobbler. It came out of the side of his hands.
Yeah.
He's supposed to lead the guy to the sidelines, and Duvernay had to kind of turn his body because the ball fluttered in the air and pushed him vertically up the field, and then Hooker did a good job making the interception. But that was a big moment in the game because we saw the Titans offense starting to, impose its will the drive before, even though they only got a field goal. And, you're going, okay, the Ravens are still in control, but the Titans look like they got their mojo on offense. And then they had that turnover, and that led to another long drive. And that's really where the game swung, in my opinion, was that interception followed by, I believe now, a 12-play, 81-yard drive that ends up in a field goal again. And to me, that's where the momentum was totally on Tennessee's side, and really they kind of physically dominated the game from there on out.
Pete, hit me up with that one more time. I got Pete talking to me. Pete.
Yeah.
Okay.
Check your text, he says.
I'm checking the text. Yes, okay.
Lamar outside the numbers.
Among quarterbacks with 100 dropbacks, Lamar is last in attempts, completions, and yards outside the numbers.
There you go.
Wow.
See, I love when I do this stuff. I mean, listen, I don't know if I'm worth a damn or anything, but I know I watch football, and I know my damn eye tells me they don't make you defend certain parts of the field.
Here we go. Dak Prescott,
right?
He's been out for quite a while, has more passing yards outside the numbers than Lamar Jackson.
How's
that possible?
That's ludicrous, right? That's ludicrous. That speaks to itself.
So, we're talking about basically the last 4 weeks and this game they lost yesterday. I'm trying to think back. Has he missed people outside the numbers a lot, or are they just not trying this
They
season?
just don't. They've never had to, really.
Yeah.
Because everything else has been so bread and butter. Their run game, everything they need, the RPOs, a little play action. So it's all been there.
Yeah.
But you're seeing here now where, hey, they're playing some quality football teams who know schematically at least how to slow it down. Not that they're always going to beat it and physically win, but they're not schematically getting gashed to where it's like, whoa, Lamar's running 40 yards before he's getting touched.
Right.
That's not happening anymore.
So opposing defensive coordinators, do you think early in the week they're coming in and telling their staff or telling their players, okay, we're playing the Ravens. Keep in mind with this passing game, is their next sentence, Lamar can't throw it outside the numbers with success, or they don't have a receiver that can threaten us outside the numbers?
I think that would be more of the assessment, I think, honestly, yeah. Because I think there's enough throws through the year and even last year to where you go, Deb, the guy can scare you with his right arm. He can make some jaw-dropping type of throws at times. I mean, you hit on one earlier. There's a few throughout the game. And, so I think it's more about, yes, there's going to start, hey, we got to stop the run game, and man, they don't, throw to this part of the field or really utilize their wide receivers. And then that allows good defenses to cheat on other things.
There you
right?
go.
And that's really, to me, one of the big negatives about this offense right now that they really got to fix.
And it's not like they're not having some kind of success.
No.
They had a stretch of third downs in the game where they were 7 out of 10. They were 8 out of 11. So it's not like they've gotten bad.
No.
They've just gone from seemingly unguardable to a little bit above average.
Exactly.
Right now.
We got used to, it was a highlight show last year.
Right.
With that. And now it's a little bit back to reality. It's still the number one run offense in football.
Right.
I mean, there's still things that you look at it and go, they're damn good. But, they've messed up with some sloppy play here and there. And then, hey, enough on Lamar in the offense, but Calais Campbell has proven to be a real issue for them. And lack of physicality yesterday. And, the fact that Tennessee hung around and just slowly but surely with no Calais Campbell or Brandon Williams, who's another top run-stuffing D tackle, they just got worn down up front.
Yeah.
And, they were so threatened by the run all day long that there was always people at the line of scrimmage. And if I had a complaint about Baltimore on defense, I just go, I wish they would play a little more vanilla every now and then. Not always, hey, play action pass, it's a one-on-one downfield. Mm-hmm. Hey, there's Corey Davis for a 50-yarder.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, Marcus Peters, but he's got to cover a really top-level athlete anywhere on a 53, yard wide field and 70 yards behind him. He's not going to always be in the guy's hip pocket. Mm-hmm. When the quarterback has, play action fake, sit in the pocket for 6 seconds. Oh, Corey Davis is going to run a deep cross because that's what Marcus Peters thinks he's going to run, and then he puts the brakes on and runs to the corner. I mean, I don't know. We could bring Dion out of retirement. He's going to have a hard time covering that.
Right.
So, that's some of the issues they have there too. But we haven't seen them physically get beat up the way they have the last 2 weeks. And that to me is because there is no Calais Campbell, no Brandon Williams. And, they rely on those guys to hunker down, and that can allow them to do other stuff with the rest of their guys. And that's been an issue too.
In Tennessee, in 2 wins in a 12-month span against the same team, they've kind of out-Ravens
The Ravens.
The Ravens.
You're right.
Being a little more physical. Here's our identity.
Right.
Here's what's coming.
Right.
We're going to do it anyway. And that's been the key to both of those wins. Let's talk a little bit about the Tennessee. I mean, we're questioning Baltimore for good reason. They've lost 3 out of 4. Titans came into this game having lost 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
They're down double digits in the second half and found a way with that identity to come back and win. When you think about the Titans offense yesterday, with the big picture in mind, lost 3 out of 4, we're down double digits. Would you like that?
Yeah, well, I think, they don't ever just skew away from what they are as a team.
Yeah.
I think that's what I like. Like, it's 21-10. Hey, we're still going to run a little bit, and we're still going to run play action pass. It's still, a viable option in an 11-point football game. They didn't get like, oh, man, it's Baltimore. They're crowding the line of scrimmage. We need to get in the shotgun and just throw it every play or do that type of stuff. That's what Baltimore wants. They're dying for you to do that.
Right.
Because then, he gets exotic as hell, and they got people blitzing and dropping everywhere, and you're throwing interceptions and doing all that. So I think that's what I looked at. And, it's a matchup that, they feel comfortable in because they're fine with going, you want to crowd the line of scrimmage and I get to drop back and we play one-on-one ball and Tannehill just, A.J. Brown versus your guy or Corey. That's fine with them. I think they're all about that. And they feel like, hey, he'll throw strikes and those two will get open. And, they played with a physical edge yesterday and certainly in the end of the football game where, they wore down the Baltimore Ravens. And you just, this is two weeks in a row we've seen that from the Ravens, and we usually don't see that.
Here's a question about both these teams. So you have both teams coming into the season, high expectations for not only regular season, but playing deep into the postseason. You've got the Ravens offense that we've talked about that, for whatever reason, has taken a step back. Offenses have figured it out, or defenses have figured them out a little bit. Tennessee's doing the exact same thing they did last year. They lead with Derrick Henry.
Right.
They have Ryan Tannehill, when he's playing well, playing a really efficient game. He does that very consistently. They haven't changed at all from what made them good last year. Why have they been able to stay the exact same? And Baltimore now needs to change what was making them good last year.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing we could probably talk about a little with Tennessee is they do make you defend the whole field. They really do. I mean, they can run it outside either way. They run boots with Ryan Tannehill to move the pocket. And then their play-action pass game really stresses the middle of the field and down the field. So there's no area you can look at with them and just go, oh, well, we can hedge our bet here to try to stop this or that or anything like that. Now, they have moments of being stagnant, too, as we saw in the Thursday night game against the Colts.
And yesterday.
So, right. There's certain matches where it's just, hey, they're that's their formula. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play actions. We're going to boots every now and then. And if we got a one-on-one in the drop-back pass game and a 10-yard out, they throw the 10-yard out. It is not like I watch them and go, oh, man, they're doing stuff that's really cool. But they have a great job of a great knack for not letting you overplay anything. Like, even the Corey Davis pass I'm talking about. Their thing so many of the times is come out, he comes up, and he's going over the middle. I'm sure they had high tendency numbers of him running some sort of crossing route. Well, they probably went in the game self-scouting themselves a little bit, and then they go, wait, we need to throw a change-up at this group here so they can't overplay some of our bread-and-butter type plays, and that's where they do it. So it's like subtle, as far as what the change-up is there, but effective.
Yeah, I would say so. And looking ahead now, I mean, they're only one game apart. They're not in the same division.
Yeah.
You have Tennessee 7-3, Ravens 6-4. Which one do you feel better about? Because both of these teams have top 10 quarterbacks on your list. I don't think there was another game yesterday that had 2 quarterbacks in the top 10. Which one do you feel better about post-Thanksgiving, getting it together, kind of being one of these top 2 or 3 teams in their conference heading into January?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I don't want to abandon Baltimore. I'm not like, oh, no, they're in trouble. Like, I still think they got a fighting chance. I wouldn't be shocked if they won Thursday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers, as desperate as they're going to be now, and Pittsburgh's going to be feeling good. But I guess it's hard for me not to say I feel a little bit better about Tennessee, I think, over Baltimore. Baltimore just seems like there's a little bit of a panic coming out of the organization.
Yeah.
There is the media and everything around Lamar and what's going on there. And, of course, John Harbaugh and his actions yesterday before the game, too.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily love that either. I love John Harbaugh. I think he's a hell of a coach. But that, to me, is like, that's not the coach's job to sit there and do that. You want to tell, hey, like, you get your players to be like, hey, look at these on our emblem, and they're over here staring. Like, we're not going to accept that. but it's not the coach's job to go out there and start that fight and start that issue. It almost looked like he was trying to manufacture something that way there.
I mean, I think one of the real likable things about him when you get to know him, he is extremely fiery.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, he's polished, he's likable, he's all those things in a very sincere way. But
definitely.
There is a real
toughness to him. Yeah. He's a hardball. I mean, so there's no doubt about that. And yeah, I mean, you know, him, Vrabel, they'd be two of the coaches towards the bottom of the list as far as guys I'd want to fight in the NFL as far as head coaches are concerned. And you know, that's the way their teams play. They don't back down from anybody. But I didn't think that was the best look for Baltimore yesterday.
All right, so Titans knock off the Ravens in overtime. Titans move to 7-3. Ravens fall to 6-4. Big one coming up Thursday night, Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.